Here's Poppy, Trails of Afghan Heroin by Robert Knoth and Antoinette de Jong. And the first thing you might want to notice is that this is quite a hefty book. It's around, I think, 500 pages. So, there's a lot of stuff to be seen. The book is about, well, Afghan heroin, but it's not just a book about Afghanistan, it's a book about all these different places where heroin plays a role in whatever way, and the book makes very clear how all these different places are connected. Robert is a photojournalist, Antoinette is a writer, and they spend a lot of time in all these different places. So the book weaves through the different locations, seamlessly, making clear, the connections between the places and explaining the history of Afghan heroin, which, you will not be surprised, is of course related to the war on terror. This is not the only reason, but it's there's a strong connection. So you get these photo pages, and then in between this very, very readable, very interesting, very informative, these essays explaining what's going on. Just goes on for pages and pages, and then you get back to the photos. You see the essay pages are sort of in between the photographs. This book was designed in Holland, and you can see. So these are excerpts from the essays. You also get on every almost every page, some quote from a book or newspaper or report, giving you additional background on what's going on, what you're looking at, how things are related. So here's Afghanistan, the early days, the pre-war on terror days, and then you see it goes from Afghanistan to Ukraine, tying the Afghan heroin trade to the enormous HIV outburst in Ukraine, of course, which is related to drug use. And then it moves to Somalia, back in time. So this is not necessarily a linear narrative, and the story is not necessarily linear in any way. So it makes all kinds of connections in different ways, also using different types of images. You can see this image here as a mark. This looks like it's from a contact sheet. It ties, here's famine, there's a Sharia court. So it ties in with talking about the rise of radical Islam in different places, and the relationship between poverty and heroin. So it's Kosovo. We all know the story of Kosovo. What we don't know so well, I haven't been told, is that these fighters who were trying to liberate their part of the country were heavily involved in the drug trade. And then back in Afghanistan, this ties in, of course, with Al-Qaeda. It's a massive book. I'm going through this at a rapid pace just to give you an idea of what you're actually getting here. And then the Netherlands, an area in Rotterdam that has a huge drug problem. For all kinds of reasons, Holland is one of the pivotal points of the drug trade. It's then Pakistan, 2001, around the time of the 9/11 attacks. So it's all tied together. Here's Russia. Russia, of course, being involved in part because of the war in Afghanistan in the 90s, or before, I guess, in the 80s, but also because of the huge drug problem. Russia borders various countries where drugs are smuggled from Afghanistan. Here's another block of text. Skip that. So this is a pretty gigantic endeavor trying to untangle the story a little bit and Tajikistan, make it clear what's actually going on, how this all interrelates. And the war on terror, the so-called war on terror, is really just a small part of this whole problem. I'm not going to be able to show you the whole book. This is way too much to show you, but I think by now you have a pretty good idea what this is all about. It goes on for pages and pages and pages. Here's the UK, Tajikistan again, Kosovo again in a different year, Pakistan. It talks about the tribal areas in Pakistan. Here's Albania. So as a Kyrgyzstan, very informative. Ukraine, the sex trafficking of young women. It's part of this game too. So if you're interested in Dubai, this is the place where money is laundered, which special connections to Afghanistan. So if you want to know how this all is interconnected and see what photojournalism can do, if it's done over a long period of time, if it's done carefully and with a lot of research and really put together, then this is an excellent book to get. It's Poppy, Trails of Afghan Heroin by Knoth and Antoinette de Jong.